Hi, Marcus. You're very welcome here today. How are you?
How are you doing? Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good, good. Now, Marcus, I really appreciate you coming on here to share your experience of our online Hypnoslim classes. So, can I just ask you, first of all, what would you find would be the biggest difference that you found using our program, the classes, compared to other methods you've tried in the past?
Okay, maybe just to start, I mean, I've probably tried every program under the sun before this one, and I was reasonably successful in some of them for a number of weeks. But at a certain point, you would have always felt that you're missing out on something, and you still have your cravings for certain things, or even what you normally wouldn't crave for, next thing you crave for because you are not allowed it on a diet and all this. And I think the biggest change, and this is it, it was never sold or never categorized as a diet. It's a change in your mind that's happening, and that I found the most amazing part about it, because it's not about the food itself. It's about kind of your attitude, to how you go about yourself, and how you value yourself. And that sounds probably very highfalutin, but that's what came out to me. That was the message I was hearing. And it was not about, you can't have this and you can't have that and it's bad for you, and this is, it wasn't like that at all. To me, it sounded all very, very positive. It was certainly I thought, compared to other programs as well, there's no comparison with other people, and I think that's something you said at the very beginning as well. Everybody's different, and everybody has different cravings and different needs, and different motivations and different reasons why they have put on weight, and that can be a multitude of things. And so that I found, and that part, kind of how you have your attitude probably to life and your attitude to food, and it's never addressed in other programs. The other programs are just about cut this, or just low GI that, or I don't know, high carb this. There's all these different programs, and as I said, I did them all under the sun, starting from what years and years ago was the Atkins diet. Fat is good, and unsaturated fat, the more the better, and two other things, and but I think that was the biggest. And it has an influence as well on the whole attitude towards the activity. I was really amazed that after the first session we had, the next day I felt almost compelled to go outside and do something. And no, I'm not particularly sporty, but actually I felt it and enjoyed it. And ever since, I've been either every day I go, even at lunchtime, I would go for a quick cycle, 45 minutes around the mountain here, or go for whatever, 45 minutes of a walk, brisk walk, and really, really enjoy it. And I think in the whole, whatever, it must be now probably 11, 12 weeks since we spoke the first time, if I've missed 1 or 2 days out of that. So every day I've done some, and it comes at great ease to me, which it wouldn't have come in the past. And I also remember the first conversation as well, that, better get some rain gear, because, you're going to be out there walking, and very true. No, fortunately, it's interesting enough, the weather isn't actually that bad either, so no, but it's that whole kind of, but it comes at great ease. It doesn't require thinking much. You're just doing it. It's just
have to become automatic, don't they?
Yes, and it's the same then. And I think the other thing then, compared to other diets, you send the message, can stick with your 3 meals a day, and in between, yes, but eat something healthy, have fruit, or and then that's fine. But the interesting thing I found, that I never had a craving in between the meal times, never once, and that was amazing for me. And my particular issue was that, kind of in particular, so that nighttime, you had your dinner, I had a cup of coffee, sometimes sweet, but that wasn't kind of majorly important. But maybe 2 or 3 hours after that, you sit down, maybe watch the telly, or you have a chat with your friend, then have a glass of wine, and then the cheese board comes out, and the peanuts come out, and crackers and all this. And not one single day did I have since that sort of a craving. That is just amazing. And that is kind of, that probably would have accounted for at least 30-40% of my calorie intake. I'm quite sure. Not that I ever measured it, but you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic, isn't it?
But
And that was from your first session, wasn't it? Obviously, we do the 6, but you got a huge change from that with your exercise
yeah,
and your craving.
the other thing I really enjoyed was the listening sessions, the little what do you call it, the recordings you had, or the like podcasts, and I enjoyed that for one reason. It is actually some, it's only the first one was about 20-25 minutes long, and the other one was a little bit longer, but it's probably that time you normally don't take for yourself in a day, because there's always rushing and racing, and apart from portion size and all, one problem I would have had, I eat very fast, and it was kind of always, you're rushing from one thing to the next and all. This way you actually had to whatever, lie down or sit down and do the 25, and I really, really enjoyed it. It kind of, and I wouldn't have not thought that I would have the patience for it, or the peace for it, but that came really after session 1. It was just, and I don't know, when we talked the very first time, sort of in the introductory conversation, you asked me, what do I know about hypnosis? And I said, the only thing I know about hypnosis is what I've seen Keith Berry do on stage, and it looks very staged. And I was utterly convinced I could not be hypnotized. I think that's something for special people who have sort of special sensory abilities. But no, it worked. It's just, I find that still a little bit amazing, to be perfectly honest, and that it has also such a long-lasting effect. That's very positive. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, and there is that misbelief out there, isn't there? A misconception. Oh no, well, I'm too logical, or I'm too rational thinking, I couldn't be hypnotized. But like, proof of that, it's there's very few people who couldn't be hypnotized. It's if you want it to happen, as I say to you every week, if you want it to happen, you can allow it to happen easily. So fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with us. And the other thing as well, so you did the 6 weeks, and now you've gone another 5 weeks. So can you tell us how much weight you've lost during those 6 weeks, and then the additional 11 weeks in total then?
Yeah, it's 17 kilograms for about 2.5 stone. That's what I lost in that period. Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's over the 11 weeks. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
And can you remember how much weight you lost at the time during the 6 weeks? If you can't remember, it's okay.
It was about, I do the metric. It was about, I think it was 11 kilograms. So that's about just stone and a half. No, but stone is about 7 kgs. Yeah, but stone and a half. A bit, so, yeah.
I'm glad you did the maths for me there. Okay. Okay, brilliant. That's a huge weight loss, isn't it? And even though, we don't always get fixated on the scales. The main thing that people come for is to get back that control of whether it's overeating or mindless eating, and eating on junk, eating junk food. So that's the main thing, because the weight loss is a side effect of making all the right choices, isn't it? So do you feel that you've really gotten control over your food choices now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what kind of is sort of still in my head is kind of the recording of it. That helps a lot, because, as I said to you earlier on, I think if you don't write it down and kind of consciously see actually what you're eating, and not measure it out and all this, it's very easy to get it wrong. And say if you even in a simple thing which is low calories anyway, so like porridge, but it's very easy to mix up, say 40 grams of porridge with 65-gram porridge, or 70. You wouldn't actually see it, or you'd have a different size bowl. It's all that sort of stuff. So that helped me greatly, to just kind of say, okay, let's kind of have a bit of a system around that. The writing down of it helped an awful lot. And then also be a bit more conscious about, the one thing as well, I should have said early on, is that this different new lifestyle doesn't disallow you anything. You have really, as you said, like a choice. And if you feel to eat certain things, you can, but you just need to be mindful of what that actually probably means in calories, because the simple message here, and again, you kept repeating it time and time again, if you put more in than you burn, then you put on weight, and the other way around, if you kind of reduce, then you lose weight. And it's pure logic. But normally, of course, we don't heed that logic at all, because you kind of you kind of let yourself go, really, as to say. But that is the difference. And that sort of, let's call it, for me, it was sort of maybe, be disciplined around that kind of and writing it down. And it's something I still do. And I just use an app on the phone. It's dead easy. It has probably every food you can get in the supermarket on it, it's very easy. And as well, I think you can see back, okay, the kind of that, for example, you have your 5 a day and all those things. You have to actually do them. Good, it's going in the right direction, and enjoying as well fresh food again and all this. And
Brilliant. And what would have been the biggest challenge for you then before doing the course? So I know you mentioned there it could be late at night having the glass of wine, or and then the peanuts come out, whatever. What else would have been your downfall? Like, would it have been the chocolate, or would it have been what would it have been? Like, would it have been foods?
It's I love cooking, and I would do a good bit of the cooking here in the house. And I love good food, and I like good food, and you would whatever you make some like a nice sauce, and you throw in the cream and all those things, and there's alternatives for that, but of course you never heat if you have cream. If you know what, by the cream, you're banging the cream into that, and it's those things, where you kind of become more mindful about, particular cravings. I'd say could go from anything. In particular, I say if, even as I said at nighttime. It wasn't, and probably had to do as well with drinking. That we were drinking alcohol, and that kind of, but it don't need much alcohol to kind of get me going on that. If a glass of wine, I said, it would be nice to have a piece of cheese here or something like that. And of course, it's not any old low-fat cheese. No, it's the full-fat camembert and all this other stuff, and nice stuff. And that's not to say that I don't think that I probably will eat it again, but a small bit of it, just, and still enjoy it. And the one thing which was mentioned in the sessions a good few times, kind of enjoy your food and kind of enjoy chewing it and kind of taste the difference in the food. And that's something, if you just shove it in, what I used to do, you don't get that sense at all. And so I think that's for me the big. So generally, particular cravings, no, I didn't have them as such. I just I love eating everything. That was sort of, and just of that too much. And as at the evenings, you have the cheese and all. The next thing, maybe we should have maybe a bit of chocolate afterwards to go with it, or something like that. And
be rude not to.
We just were on a roll, and or what we like doing here, kind of sort of on the weekends, sort of have a big breakfast, so not necessarily in the Irish style, but sort of like a big continental breakfast with cold meats and cheeses and all that sort of stuff. And we still do that, but it's just much more reduced, and it's kind of still have really nice food there, quality, but far less. And it's the portion size in particular that was a big thing for me. And is that after the first day, I remember here I was cooking the dinner that evening after our first session that evening, and putting out the dinner, and I looked at my own plate and I said, nah. Anyways, I left it on the plate and I started eating, and about a third through the way, I just couldn't eat anymore. I had enough. And my wife and the son were all sitting at the table, and they were looking at me and said, what the hell is wrong with him? I said, you probably think I'm joking, but I actually can't eat it. I don't feel like it. And it came as probably I was the most surprised in all of this, and it continues on like that. So I'm very happy, as I said at the weekend before, yes, you eat the 2 bread rolls and you have, lay on the butter. No, probably maybe have half a bread roll or some more, or maybe 2 slices of different types of bread, but it's kind of all, it's far less and far more conscious of what you put onto it, and
that's a huge thing with it, isn't it? Becoming more aware of what you actually are eating. Great. That sounds amazing. And so you've obviously finished the 6 weeks. So does it feel comforting to know that there's a maintenance program there now as well for when you're finished?
Oh, definitely. And I think I can see the day that I lift the phone and say, Rosie, I would like to kind of, hop back on here just to give you that sort of bit of support, because inevitably there will be times, and probably now particularly when kind of after lockdown, everyone will be out, and there will be a lot of things to celebrate and to catch up on. And then at some point, yeah, I find it a little bit hard to get back on track or to stay on track. And it's great that it is out there, you know. But I also know that I will probably never ever look at any other diet book or any sort of fad out there ever again. So you have a repeat customer anyhow.
Well, for the record, that
if
was not my
necessary.
Just to clear it up, my intention over the 6 weeks is that you reprogram your mind, and you really have. And like the support there is people could jump in for a class if they need it 6 months down the road, if they feel, do you know what, there's a big event coming up and I just want to make sure it's all locked in. And, you know, because even the clients that would have done this 12 months ago or more, they haven't gone back eating the junk. They haven't gone back, you know, the old habits are gone. But it's I think it's important, like for some people who may have, say, 10 stone to lose, 6 weeks, they can certainly reprogram their mind, but there's also emotional eating going on as well. So to say that 10 stone is going to be fixed in 6 weeks is not realistic, but we do the one-to-one work as well outside of the class to address any underlying issues. But a lot of the stuff in the class, like we break up all those associations, remember, of sitting on the couch eating, or eating when you're bored, eating when you're hungry, when you're not hungry, eating in the car, eating at work, you know, breaking up all those associations where there's a lot of boredom eating and mindless eating. We do that. But over the 6 weeks, a lot of people, I'd say the vast majority of people that have come through it have got enough out of those 6 weeks, like yourself, that they're ready to go themselves. But I just thought it was very important to have some sort of maintenance system ready for people. No one's ever obliged to sign up for a year subscription or anything like my mission is to give you back that control. And delighted for you, you've been able to do that. So would you happily recommend the weight loss clinic, Marcus?
Most certainly. I have already done multiple times since, and because I mean that's one of the obviously the positive side effects. People obviously notice. I mean, seeing that we can get out now slowly again, that you meet the odd person even walking or something like that, and particularly because I have been away for a number of weeks due to family reasons, that I was sort of a bit off the scene here, and then you meet people after maybe 5 or 6 weeks and say, geez, what happened to you, you know? And almost to the degree that they're getting worried, you know. but no, absolutely, certainly would recommend it strongly. And as I said, I have done, because I think the one thing is as well, eating, as you said, there's a number of reasons why you're eating, but there is probably, I would just, I'm a lay person in this, but I could safely, you know, talking about myself, look at myself, I'm fairly kind of quite a positive person and all this, and I wouldn't suffer sort of any sort of depression or anything like that. But there is something, once you get into that groove of kind of eating food and eating, and whatever the reason is, kind of, you actually at some point you start feeling down, and because you look down on yourself and think, and these trousers getting tight, and this jumper looks awful on you, and you know, and that's the program changed for me as well. That different outlook, and it's not so much when obviously this is about kind of the food and all that sort of, but I think it's about bringing our mind into a positive space, and it's actually, yes, I can do this, and without any, you know. I think it's said early on, if you go to other class, there's guilt is a big thing, you know, kind of play this guilt card, and you know, if you don't do this, you will put on weight again, and you think, oh no, better don't do it. This didn't come into this at all. It was kind of, you change your attitude from within, and I said, I still don't really know how it worked, but it's bloody fantastic.
You don't need to know the power of it. The power of suggestion. You said something really, really important there. Actually, it's changing your attitude. I think you said from within. Was it attitude the word? Change it. That's what it is. Like it's all done in through your own mind. Like in the class, everybody is there with their earphones in. We're on Zoom, but my voice is the only voice you're going to hear. So what I'm doing there is guiding you through a process. You go into hypnosis and guide you through it, give you all the suggestions, and those that take them on have great change, like yourself. It's really, really powerful, and that's what you're changing it all from inside your head. That was a really good way of
Yeah,
explaining.
and it's some very, very old habits probably were broken down as well. And that's, for example, and I know some other people in the group actually, I think refer to it as well, is this thing. I always remember my mother saying, clean the plate. You eat up what's in front of you, and I said I was well able, but of course now it's not my mother putting on the dinner or putting the dinner on the plate. It was me, and I put a whole pile on it, and I still eat it up. Even so I don't need it, and that has changed. Now, of course, now I don't even put that much on the plate, so that problem doesn't arise anymore. But that goes back to early childhood, and but you got really conditioned into this over years, and even just to break that, it was a great thing, and it's just and as well, only eat what you like and what you enjoy, and rather than kind of just horsing stuff into you senselessly.
And there'll always be enough food around you, won't there?
Well, that's for sure. That is for sure.
Well, yeah. Marcus, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you sharing your experience, and I'm delighted to hear that update as well.
Yeah. No, I have to thank, because I think and compliments back to yourself as well. This is kind of has to do probably very much with you as a person as well, the way kind of you present it, and how you engage. As I could see it also with other people in the group there, that you put something very positive into people's minds, and you make a hugely positive impact. You've made a hugely positive impact on me, and I would like to thank you for that. I'm grateful for that, which is something I would have never thought about. And as I said, it was pure coincidence that I stumbled across this, and but it is fantastic, really, really good.
Yeah, you're very welcome as well. So thank you very much, and
You're welcome.
keep us updated now. I'd like
Will do.
Now and again. It's lovely to keep those updates coming in, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay, Rosie. Thanks. All the best.